Hello and welcome to another episode of Scouser Tommies on Anfield Index. I'm Jim Boardman and I'm with Reid. And yes, this week we've got a couple of 2-0s to talk about. We've got a weekend off to look forward to. And it's the Champions League. Liverpool have sneaked their, well, not sneaked, but they've released their annual report and account. So we've got info on that, but you're not in the best place for that. There's other parts of Anfield Index I'd say you can get a better idea on the report, but we'll do our best. They've even thrown in some fixture changes, but Jay, I think really the place to start with is since we were last on air, which was like a week ago, two massive games against teams that this was strange. Someone was asking me, like, who are Liverpool's rivals for the title, and it's a strange one because I've still got it ingrained in me since being a kid, since listening to Kenny talking about it. That you can't say you've won the league until it's mathematically over the line, even if it gets to the point where you're actually ahead and you'd have to lose all your games 50-0 or something like that. It's still, if it's mathematically possible, you can't celebrate yet, which is fair enough. So I'm still being like that. But I would say it feels like we're in a hell of a lot more of a healthy position than we were like this time a week ago when we had those two big games to come, when we'd dropped, if you like, or lost a couple of points against Villa. Arsenal kind of waiting to pounce, knowing that they'd played a game less. A week later, we've done our job. Arsenal haven't done theirs, and it's as close as I can get to admitting that we've won the league. It feels like, let's put it this way: before we started to talk, came on air, we were actually talking about the possibility of parades, weren't we?
Yeah, I think we said last week, wasn't it? The lava bird upon my chest was this season's song of success. Going back to last few seasons, poetry, emotion, LA, and among others, or like players' songs and whatever that we've had. But the song that burst out last Sunday at the Etihad, now you're going to believe us, we're going to win the league. It was like it's reserved for that moment of when the true fans who don't get ahead of themselves. Your real football people are like, no, now's the moment that the penny's dropped. Like, we are going to win this league. Let's not get ahead of ourselves like Arsenal, because we're going to run 3 or 4 games in January, and you might get a draw against Liverpool, and you think, oh, that's it, now we've overthrown them. We've got so many games in hand and all these points to make up, but they're going to drop points here, there, and everywhere. So the league's still on, the race is still on, the race that never was. I think the only time they were ahead of us at any point this season was probably like match week 4 or something like that. I don't think they've actually been above us for a sustained period, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. But I think from about match week 10, we've been on top. Maybe even earlier than that. Someone will probably correct me on that one. So any race that was being run, in horse racing terms, as we quite often use, they were always a fence behind. We were always a couple of furlongs ahead of them. But yeah, like when that moment at the Etihad last week, when the Liverpool fans, burst into the song of, now you are going to believe us, we are going to win this league and hand it over Manchester. You had to sit back with a smile on your face and you go, oh yeah, this is it now. Now we know. And even the other night, at Anfield, the atmosphere was crackling. Wasn't impressed with the fact that, for some reason Liverpool decided that they were going to show the Arsenal game on the tellies on the concourse. So, I got into the ground and, got to my seat like 10 minutes before kickoff, like, most people tend to do at Anfield, and then wait for the teams to come out and give them a round of applause. But then people were waiting until half time in the Arsenal game before they made the seat. And then, 5 minutes before half time in our game, they're all rushing downstairs to catch the end of the Arsenal game. And then second half kicks off and, the Arsenal game is still playing. And there's a flurry of people that then come up once the Arsenal game's finished. And you think, hang on a minute, people would do anything to be at Anfield and watch this game. Yeah. Don't worry about them. Their business will take care of itself. We're ahead of them anyway. Like, get back in your seat and support our lads. Don't worry what Arsenal are doing. Okay, like, they fell apart, they tripped themselves up. That's going to happen. Let them do that themselves. But you're here at Anfield to support this team in red, which was a slight annoyance on my behalf. But then when we knew that result was in, you know, when I think shortly after that we went 2-0 up, you know, that it was basically, you know, slippers out, get the cigars out, lads. This is time. Let's burst out the rendition of Now You're Going to Believe Us once again, because, you know, it did feel as though these last couple of games, the momentum has really, you know, tipped in our balance, because this was meant to be the period we were going to slip up. These 5 games in 15 days, you know, trips to the Etihad, trips to Villa Park, trips to Goodison Park, you know, potential banana skin against Wolves, and then a Newcastle team that had beat Arsenal 3 times already this season. You know, that was when we were going to have our blip. And, you know, with 3 wins and 2 draws out of 5 games is a blip, then I'll take that all season long, because, you know, you're not really doing much wrong if that's what you're going to turn out. And yeah, it's not mathematically done, but, you know, realistically, all the chips are on our side of the table right now. That they're scrambling around looking for, you know, the last dollars and dimes to put on the table and hope that something falls their way. But it'd take a major turn in fortune for that to happen.
Getting to the stage where they can have chips for the tea, seeing these Liverpool players, because it's like, you know, definitely sit back and relax. It's annoying. I agree, that sort of stuff about putting that on the concourse, but, you know, A, the club shouldn't do it. B, they're probably doing it to make money as much as anything else, which is fine. If you're in charge of that bit of the ground and your pay is based on how much money gets taken over those tills or whatever, then you're going to do whatever you can to make more money. But as a club, it's about getting people out there. And we were talking last week about playing You'll Never Walk Alone at the right time. And weirdly enough, Rafa was on TV, on TNT, obviously ex-manager of both clubs, bound to be on. And he was talking about the importance of You'll Never Walk Alone, and the importance about getting it played at the right time, and the nerves that it can induce in the opposition players. Meanwhile, the club are thinking, well, let's stick the telly on and, you know, keep people back as long as we can. You know, it doesn't matter, does it? And it's just like this. These are the little things that you think, you know, you could do with someone at the club who's just got the kind of the knowledge of the club and its history, tied in with commercial knowledge and all the rest of it. But just that bit of like, that little bit of common sense and that little bit of know-how to kind of say, right, don't do that. That's a dickhead thing to do. Do this instead. It'll pay off in the long run, because I'm sure we'll come to it. The way that Liverpool make money is by winning things, because the more you win things, the more prize money there is. The higher up the competition is, the more money that you get off the back of it. The higher up the league you finish, the more money you get. So, and the way Liverpool win things is not just about going finding the best players and the best coach and all that. That's all important. But any Liverpool fan will tell you, and just about anyone who's not a Liverpool fan and is being honest will tell you, that the Liverpool fans make a huge difference, and the atmosphere inside our Anfield makes a huge difference. When people were talking about the games we had left before Newcastle, they were saying 11 games, 7 at home. The big emphasis there was on the fact that the majority of the games are at home. So the advantage to Liverpool is even higher. And that's not just because it's a home game. It's because it's a home game for Liverpool at Anfield, which is on another level. When Liverpool fans are needed, you hear them shout. We were grumbling a little bit about the Wolves game, that they weren't as loud as they could be. And that's why we mentioned You'll Never Walk Alone. But everyone's got to do the bit, and it's frustrating that the club can't see that. But yeah, I think that those 2 games, it was just strange, like in the space of a week, how things change. And I've talked in the past about how football has this kind of, it's the be all and end all of the league title every weekend. And you get it all through the season. You get it every time someone slips up. They've messed it up now, no chance. Every time someone runs away with it, you know, gets a win at the same time. They've run away with it now, no one else has got a chance. This is probably the first time this season where I've actually felt we can start to relax a little bit. But obviously, it's easier said than done, relaxing with this lot, because I think Slot's said as well, he doesn't want to overuse his players, but at the same time, they should be okay to play 3 in a week, because that's how they're built. That's how the kind of, you know, European competitions in summer, World Cup competition in winter, in summer. Every 2 years there's one or the other of those big competitions, and they'll play game after game after game, days apart, as long as, if they're successful. So maybe not the England players usually, but they'll play game after game after game, and they're used to it. And it's just every so often you need a break. So he's got the best out of his players. I'm not sure where I was going with this then, because I'm just so excited about Liverpool doing so well. And I think that's the other key to what you're saying as well, is when we played against City, they had something like 70% possession Well, I saw that stat. I don't know if that was the final stat. Towards the end, it was definitely the start. Yeah, it didn't matter because when we had the ball, we did well with it. We did the right things. And when they had the ball, we let them have it, and we were able to keep them at bay. Even though Trent was getting pulled up by the commentary team about getting beaten a lot, he wasn't. He wasn't sort of. I got the feeling like he was only going to give it so much because he's still coming back from injury, and he knew there was still like a back door behind that. There was still a backstop behind that. It wasn't like he was being left on his own to do that. We work as a team, and if anything, he's holding the player up, ready for when he does put his cross in. There's someone going to be there waiting, and we kept them out. Fair play to Trent on that. He's starting to improve, but you can tell he's not fully 100% because he would have finished the game the other night, and he didn't. We brought Kwanzaa on, but the overall thing I got from the midweek game was after what happened against City, that was, we did what we need, and we've done this all season. We do what we need to do to win. We do what we need to do to get the points. It's not always been a win, but it's near enough always. We've drawn 7 games in the league. We've lost 1. And the other 20 have been variations on us doing just what you need to do to win, whether that's a heavy win against Ipswich or, and what this is what I call it the other night, a business-like efficient performance against Newcastle. We do the business, we get the job done, and then we can rest then ready for the next game, even if it's only a couple of days ago, which it usually is.
Yeah, I think the same I was going to use with professional efficiency. Like I've got the stats here actually in front of me of the City game. So they had 66% of the ball, to our 34 obviously, but expected goals across the game, even though they had 16 attempts to our 8, they only have 5 actually on target to our 4. The expected goals was less than us at 0.63 to our 0.71.
Yeah.
And we created what was known as one big chance. Corner kicks pretty level, 7-5. This is the key one for me. Shots inside the box, both had 6 each. Their shots from outside the box, 10 to our 2. Which says to me, they were panicking. They didn't really know what to do. And yes, it was highlighted. Doku went past Trent, 72,000 times or whatever it was. But where was his end product? You know what I mean? And I heard someone say it might have been on Raw, to be honest. He's basically just another Adama Traore. He's got all the pace to burn. He can leave a player for dead. But what's he doing with it? You know what I mean? He's doing nothing. When the ball went in the box, we've got a couple of fellas there in Van Dijk and Kanata who were like, absolutely, fella, all day. You give us that all day. Same against Newcastle the other day. Callum Wilson on his day, in the past was a handful, and you would say, yes, he's not match fit, and had Alexander Isak been playing, it might have been a different story. However, I do feel, our professionalism would have got us through that game, and at no real point other than maybe the first 10 minutes in the first half and the second half against City, did it feel like we were under any sustained pressure. It was more like, okay, let's see what you've got. Oh, was that it? Right, okay, well, now it's our turn to show you what we've got. And actually, it's too much for you, And if it isn't, like we said last week, there's fellas on the bench who we can bring on. There's fellas on the bench who we don't even have to bring on. Fellas who he doesn't want to bring on sometimes. Sorry, Chiesa, sorry, Elliot, but sometimes it just feels as though like he looks at us and goes, nah, like I'm still not giving you the game. But the same with Newcastle tonight. It was like, we come out a bit more, up tempo and on top in that game, and we did sort of put the foot on the gas quite early, and again the stats in this game completely flipped. We had 62% of the ball. Our expected goals was 1.56 to their 0.21. They barely created anything. They didn't have a shot on target all game. We had 12 goal attempts to their 3. So the dominance was there, but I don't think we actually got out of second gear at all in that game. And it was like, the goals come at crucial times in terms, 11 minutes into the first half, and then was it about 16 minutes into the second half, something like that, and they come at crucial times where they might think, well, we've sort of got into this game here 10 minutes in. No, bang, goal, 1-0. Second half, okay, let's start again, lads. Bang, 63 minutes. We're on the clock, 2-0 down. And their heads went. Like, they were gone. They were finished mentally. Like, they didn't want to know. If the Newcastle fans turn up like that at Wembley, fair play. You know, you allowed for 10 or 15 minutes, but then once you went 1-0 down and 2-0 down, they were silent. They might as well just got it back on the coach and made the trip back up to the northeast because, you know, the old Geordie Raw was more of a Geordie whimper. You know, there was nothing from them. And hopefully they do bring something a bit more to Wembley. Otherwise, it's going to be a long, old wasted trip for them in a couple of weeks.
Right, the Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share, and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts, and even Liverpool legends along the way. With the Great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at AnfieldIndexPro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.